Hey guys, welcome to my channel or welcome back. If you are new here though, my name is Bram. I talk about all things fashion, luxury, lifestyle, shopping, and travel. So if those are things that are interesting to you, I would love it if you would hit subscribe, become a member of my growing YouTube family. I post videos typically Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, but at the very least 3 times a week. So hitting the notification bell would be a great idea. Okay. Not only that, or also, I should say, I know it is early in the video. However, a thumbs up would be amazing. But if you want to wait until you think that I deserve it, don't forget to give me a thumbs up before the end of the video. Okay. All right, guys. So let's talk. I figured that, every once in a while, I kind of like to touch base on the vintage or like pre-loved items that I am watching, that I am obsessing over, that I am, that are on my radar, like the top 5 that are on my radar. So every so often, I like to go back over it with you guys. I definitely change my mind a lot. I do. And not like, I feel like not overall like it wouldn't change from like I love this style and now I hate it, or well, I mean sometimes that's happened, but like it's not like a quick change for me like that. But I do randomly see items that maybe I forgot about or whatever, and so like my top 5 is like constantly moving and changing, I guess, or like the things that I'm like really focused on adding into my collection are like constantly like things are just changing, you know what I mean? Also, I feel like we have a good like 30 years of not vintage, but like, well, because don't they like 20 years is vintage. So we have a good like 10 years beyond that, I feel like, of items that I want to say like from 94 on, right? There's some like great Chanel, there's some great Louis Vuitton from like the mid to late 90s. And then of course we know early 2000s, like incredible bags, things like that. So I feel like there's so many vintage options. There's so many pre-loved options, because if we're talking about like the last 20 years not technically being vintage, we have from like 2006 and on that are like bordering on vintage or not, but like there's so many pre-loved bags that are like in the pot, I guess. And there's so many, like, so random things will pop up and I'll be like, oh, most of the time I don't really find things that I've never seen, just because I've been looking and obsessing over bags for many, 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 many years. But I do find things every once in a while that pop up that I'm like, oh, I forgot this existed, or I didn't know it came in that combination, or just things like that. So, so that being said, my list does change around every so often. So I figured that I would go over that with you guys and just tell you kind of, I have like 2 categories today, actually. So I have like my top 5, I want to say vintage, but just know that it's pre-loved, because some of them are definitely not 20 years old, right? Most of them are, but some of them are not. So I have my top 5. I have like I said, I have 2 categories. So we have the top 5 that are like my dream. If money was no object, if I could just have anything I want, like what would be my top 5 dream vintage bags at the moment? And the more realistic top 5. And there might be a few more than top 5, but I would say like maybe 1 or 2 honorable mentions, I guess. But yeah, so I have, like I said, I have the dream. If, life was perfect and I could get anything I want, I would go with all 5 of these immediately. And and then other than that, like the top 5 on my list right now of things that I am actively hunting down that I would love to add into my collection, whether it is this year or next or whatever, it is definitely the main ones that are on my list that I'm looking for a good price, of course, because life isn't perfect and I don't have bazillions of dollars to just blow on vintage bags. Okay, guys. So let's go over the dream ones first, I guess, since Yeah. All right. I'm going to throw out pictures as we go. And obviously, I would love your guys' input. Like, you know, how do you feel about the bags that I'm mentioning once I mention them? And of course, what are your top five, top one, top whatever dream versus, actual like reality? I'd love to know because sometimes you guys might even mention a bag that I totally forgot existed and it might switch my list around. So, all right, for the dream, if you've been here before, some of these you will know, of course, are on my dream list. So, number one would be, and this is actually, I want to say like in no particular order, it's just the top five. Like they're just the most important on my dream list. So, number one, I would say would be the Chanel 2014 reporter bag or messenger bag or whatever we want to call it. I like the bigger version. I do like the small version as well. So I'll post up both pictures. I like the larger version, I think. So every so often, I take a look at these bags on the pre-loved market to see what they are going for now. Again, so these aren't vintage, right? Because technically they're only a little over 10 years old. So that's why I said, like, we're like borderline here. Some of it's vintage, some of it is a little bit newer, but they're all still pretty old, right? So I would say like the larger of the two messenger bags goes for approximately $10,000 to $11,000 on the pre-loved market. Now we're talking about, while it's an absolutely stunning bag and I love it, and I swear by the, like, one day in my, like, I am hoping I don't want to swear, but like I'm hoping that, before my life is over, that I can add this bag into my collection. I love it. I've loved it forever. It's absolutely stunning. And it would just be like an absolute dream to get my hands on this bag at a decent price, but maybe one day 10 or 11,000 for a messenger bag. I might be okay with that. Who knows? So the larger one is like 10 to 11,000 on the pre-loved market. The smaller one, which is kind of like, I want to say it looks like maybe it's half the size of the larger version, is typically like 8 to 9,000. So randomly they'll pop up on the real, and you just have to kind of be on it and ready to pull the trigger. Like if it pops up for 6 or 7,000, like you have to be ready with the money, like ready to go. So I think it's doable one day. I do think it's doable, but hopefully it's sooner rather than later because I would love to enjoy this bag for quite a while. I love it so much. Okay. Next one is the Dior. I want to say this is sort of like straddling dream and reality because I don't think it is like so far off the mark of like what could potentially happen. Like I feel like the prices are coming down. So I do think that the reality of this bag is I will have it at some point. Like it's not so far into the, dream realm that it's never going to happen. But the newspaper print saddlebag would be an absolute dream. I love the newspaper print. I just think it's so classically John Galliano Dior. It's so absolutely stunning. It is my favorite. Oh, I don't want to say my favorite. Oh, there's so many things I could put on this dream list that I literally just popped into my head. So I'm going to do some honorable mentions as well. But this is probably one of my most realistic, I guess, even though it's on the dream list, it's one of my most realistic Dior saddlebags, like within the dream realm. I don't know. Am I making any sense? That I can possibly get my hands on because it will happen one day. Right now, so when originally, I don't know how much this retailed for. I want to say probably in the $4,000 range. I don't know. Let me know if you know and I'm wrong. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I will tell you that right now in the secondhand market, it's actually coming down. So when it first started like reselling because it sold out of the stores, it was going for, I want to say around like $7,000, give or take 7,500. Now you can find them for as low as 5,000. Questionable what kind of condition it will be in, but I've seen it out there. So I'm hoping that one day it finds me at a decent price when I am ready to purchase it. And I'm sure that will happen. But I love, I absolutely love the newspaper print saddle. And what I was going to say was like, that is probably like my favorite saddle. And I wanted to take that back because in actuality, my favorite saddles would be from that. I don't know what, oh, I should have looked this up, but I don't know why I didn't think of this when I was making this list, but that world, I don't know. It was a collection of different countries. Like they chose different countries for the saddlebag. And I will say that the Indian, so the India saddlebag was absolutely stunning. I'll find a picture and put it up here. And the China saddlebag was absolutely stunning. So both of those, I would say, would really be more accurately on the dream list. I kind of made like a realistic dream list, I feel like. Sort of. I feel like my dream list is like, yeah, I feel like it's realistic in the sense that like one day I will get my hands on hopefully all of these things. However, the countries from the Dior collection, and I'll put up what collection this was. I know it was like an anniversary collection from of the saddlebag or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but absolutely freaking stunning. Like so many of the countries were incredible, but I would say that India and China were like insane. The numbers, I'll put some of the numbers up on the screen. I want to say, I mean, they're at least in like the 5 digits. So and like mid 5 digits, like I would say like 30s, 40,000. Like I've seen some crazy numbers. I'm sure that like if you're ready to buy, you can probably land on a more decent number, but it will still be astronomical for a saddlebag. But it's a it's an incredible piece of fashion history. Oh my God. I just like it. They're like candy. Oh, okay. So that's an honorable mention, although I do think that is definitely like in my top 5. I don't know. I'm bad at this. Okay. Next one, guys. If you have been here before, you know that the Chanel 2000 and was it 14 or 13? I don't remember now. Anyway, I think it's 2013 collection, the Chanel graffiti backpack. I had it, I sold it, I loved it, I wore it into the ground. I am so sorry I sold it because now they go between $9,000 and $14,000 on the resale market, and not even in like incredible condition. It is absolute insanity how expensive that backpack is. I purchased one for $5,000, I want to say, from um, yeah, I'm not even going to get into the story. I do have the video up. I have a video about it, so you guys can go check that out if you haven't seen it already. But I was duped. I got my money back, and everything is right in the world. But I that bag was like I was so excited, and I had a sneaking suspicion, but it's okay. You live and you learn. So anyway, that bag is still on my list of bags that I absolutely need at some point in life to add back into my collection one day. Hopefully the prices will come down, although quite honestly, I don't think so. They've been very expensive for a very long time at this point. So, all right, this one is the absolute hardest on this list to find, maybe. Okay, so this is the Chanel. I want to say this was the 1994 Barbie collection. It is the vintage jumbo, patent leather, pink Barbie colored flat bag with the rhinestones all over it. Oh my God. I am obsessed with this bag. I don't remember it when it came down the runway the first time. 94, I was 13. And so I wasn't so much into Chanel at that point. It took me about another 5 or 6 years to really like, get on the Chanel train. And so I don't really remember. I don't remember this bag, and I don't remember. I don't remember this bag specifically, but I do remember like old school 90s Chanel, and I always loved it, but I didn't know what I was looking at. You know what I mean? So anyway, this bag, the last time I found it online on a resale site was, I'm going to put it up here. It was for like $350,000. Like, what? Okay, so yeah, there's that. I would say that anything from the Barbie collection, I don't want to put that on the dream list because I feel like, well, obviously the pink one goes on the dream list, and that is definitely like a dream, like winning the lotto, marrying a billionaire type of dream, right? And I can't marry a billionaire because I'm already married, and so yeah, so that's not going to happen. But I feel like, oh God, so freaking incredible, that bag. But that whole Barbie collection is just absolutely insane. But there are definitely some pieces that I have found on the pre-loved market now that are way more in the realm of possibilities. Like you can get like a necklace or a belt. They're still expensive, in my opinion, but they're definitely in the reality pile, and they can definitely happen. So I will at some point add some. I don't know what it's going to be, but it will be something from that Barbie, like 1994 Barbie collection. Ugh, absolutely the best collection Chanel ever did, ever, ever. Yeah, I would say so. Okay, next one and last one on the dream list is the Chanel chain around XL maxi flat bag. I don't know. I'm going to put a picture here. One, they're doable, but it's very few and far between that they come up at decent prices. And the prices are all over the map. So I will put something up here. I don't know if I have prices listed, but we'll see. I'll put up what I have. One actually not so long ago, I would say within the last 6 months, maybe even a little bit less than that, popped up on Fashion File, which is why I constantly am on Fashion File, refreshing. I already had something that I was working on Fashion File because I put things on layaway and I spend the time, pay them off, sell some shoes, do what I have to do to get these things, and I already had something going, so I did not put that on. I did not put that on hold, and I practiced a ton of self control, and I lost it. And it was actually up there for a few days, and I knew it wasn't going to last long. And every time I would go back and it was still there, I was like, "Oh my God, Bram, it's meant to be. Just do it." And I didn't. I was very good. I did not do anything. Yeah, and obviously, it was up there for a few days, but at a few days in, somebody was probably like, why is this still up here? This is crazy. And they finally purchased it. And it was a really beautiful, because you guys know that black is not my favorite. I do have my black Chanel XL in the patent, the vintage flap, but that is my only black bag. One of three black bags that I own, but they're not like, none of them are. That's like the main. Yeah, I mean, if you have seen my collection video, you will know I have like a Bride of Brack that's black. I have the Chanel camera bag that's actually like a camera. I have that in black, so I feel like those don't count. This Chanel XL is like my one and only like real bag that's black. And I'm not a fan of black that much. So like if the only one that I could find would be like a black version, I would probably sell the patent one that I have so that I could get that one. But I would way rather it was in another color. And the one that popped up on Fashion File was this blush pink. I mean, like it couldn't have been more perfect. But it was the wrong time for me. So anyway, I do think it's in the realm of possibility, although I'm putting it on the dream because you never know these prices. Like, who knows? It literally, I want to say it was like $5,000 with Fashion File, but I feel like you never really know. And at any point in time, this bag could jump up to like 150,000 and I wouldn't get it. You know what I'm saying? So like it's on the dream because it really everything has to line up. It has to be the right time, right place, right everything, it all has to line up. So that's why it is on the dream list. Okay, so the dream list is done. That's closed. I'm sure it will change at some point. We will revisit this topic in a few months, right? Okay, this is the reality list, and I am excited to go through this because these are the ones that I'm actually actively hunting for and would add with at the right price, and it's like the right prices do come up quite often with these pieces. So The first one would be the 2009 Graffiti Speedy or Neverfull at this point. Initially, I had wanted only the Speedy. I used to have the pink Neverfull, and I just didn't use it because while I love the Neverfull in the GM, it is very big, especially if you have like nothing to put in your bag, you know? So mine was actually in incredibly like perfect condition. I did sell it at some point to fund something else, I am sure, even though apparently I had promised that I was never going to sell this bag. But sadly I did. And of course it is right back on my list to add back into my collection. I really at some point would like all three colors, although orange is like my least favorite of the three. I would say green is probably my first, and then pink, and then orange. And I would say that the Speedy is I like better than the Neverfull, although I do want to add both. So I would like to add either a green or a pink Neverfull, and either a green or a pink Speedy, and then whatever comes up in the orange is fine. And yeah, so I would like to have like at least one Neverfull and probably two Speedies. I don't know, but one way or another, I want all three colors and both styles for sure. So that's number one on my list. And I feel good about that. I feel like they pop up quite often at decent prices. Sometimes the prices are crazy. The Speedies tend to be more expensive than the Neverfulls, but one way or another, it's coming back into my collection at some point soon, hopefully this year, honestly. So we'll see. All right, next one is not a vintage bag at all. I mean, obviously the 2009 Graffiti version is also not a vintage bag, but I would say this one, this one is, well, it's kind of a vintage bag, but not really, right? So it is the Prada Crystal Reedition 2000. I had this bag in pink. I had it in black. I sold both of them because I just wasn't wearing them. And I don't want either one of those colors back. The only two colors that I like, well, actually, there's three colors I like. I take that back. I like the Prada green. I love. I don't know what they actually call that, but I love it. Like that, like matcha color. I love. Maybe it's not even a matcha color. It's like it's like that Prada green. It's a nice light green. I don't know. I love that color. I would do it in that color. I would do it in that beautiful, like lilac color, which I think is so beautiful. And I'm not really a purple person, but I guess I am sort of. I hated purple my whole life, and I feel like because I never wore it, it's almost like brand new to me now. So for some reason now I'm like kind of drawn to certain shades of purple, and I'm really loving them at the moment. So I do really love that bag in the purple, and I also love it in the white. I mean, I know that that's a little bit dangerous, but I think it's an absolutely beautiful bag. I sold them because not only was I not wearing them, but I was sort of like, that's all we saw for like years. Like I want to say like 2 or 3 years. It was like everything was Prada crystals. I had a pair of Prada crystal shoes. Like there was just so much Prada crystal happening. Even my phone case was Prada crystals, and I was just so sick of it. And I tend to do that when I get sick of things. I'm like, oh, I'm never going to wear it again or whatever. But here we are back to square one. However, the prices are decent now. When I first purchased it, it had just come out. So I want to say it was like in the $1,400 range. Like it was 1,500. It was relatively, it was the first round that came out. I got the black one, and they were impossible to get at the time. And yeah, so when the prices shot up, I was like, well, I'm not adding it back because the prices are over 2,000 now. It's crazy. But on the secondhand market, they're now back around 1,500. So you can, and even less. Like if I wanted to grab the triangle shaped version, you could find that for like, I've seen them on Fashion File pop up in the Real for like in the $1,000 range, like $1,000, $1,100, $900. Like, so it's a possibility, and I like that idea. So yeah, I will be adding it at some point in the near future, I hope. That's why I said, I mean, it's not a vintage bag, but it is the re-edition from the 2000s. So it's like, not vintage, but a vintage style, right? Okay, next one is the Cherry Blossom Papillon. Yeah, the original one. That is a vintage one, obviously. They are, I had that when it first came out. It was impossible to get my hands on. I got it a few years after it first came out. And then I also at some point had the Sac Retro. The Sac Retro was a little bit too girly for me. I always liked the Papillon better. I think it's an incredible bag. I don't know why I sold it at some point. Who knows why I did things that I did, but I would love to add that back. I feel like it's getting a little bit harder to find that in decent condition. They're kind of a little beat up. One did pop up on fashion. You can find them on eBay. You can find them. They run, I want to say, in the $15 to $2,000 range, give or take. Sometimes a little bit more. Depends on the. It obviously depends on the condition that it's in. One popped up on Fashion File not too long ago. It might even still be there, quite honestly. It was 1900, which I thought was way too expensive for the condition that it was in. It was in worn condition. And I feel like, yeah, it was definitely worn. Like the flowers were kind of, they weren't even on there anymore. They were all like fading, and it was in rough shape. So definitely it wasn't a good use of $1,900, but they do pop up. They are out there. They're definitely harder to find than I feel like the rest of that collection, like the rest of the Murakami initial releases. Like obviously it's very easy, no problem to find any of the multicolor bags. Even the eye versions, you can pretty much find most of those, whatever. I don't know what you're willing to pay, but like you can find most of those on the secondhand market, no problem. But I feel like for whatever reason, the cherry blossom is harder to find in good condition at a decent price, but they are out there. They are out there. So that's definitely on my list. I have my cherry speedy. I have my multicolor fringe. I have my multicolor I Need You, I think it is. And yeah, like I feel like I have to add a cherry blossom. I don't want any of the new versions. There are pieces that I like from like all those collections, but nothing that I'm willing to spend crazy money on until the prices come down. So like I'm not even like giving it any like brain space, but definitely the cherry blossom papillon one day will be mine. And honestly, I don't care what color. Like brown would probably be my I love the brown, but I also love the pink, and I also love the cream color. And if I found the little pochette, which I actually don't even really love pochettes because I feel like I don't know. Like I just feel like on like my body frame, they just too small. But if one does pop up at a good price in good condition in any of their three colors, and I'm just like ready to purchase something, I probably would purchase that. So yeah. Okay, I have two left for you guys. I have like three left for you guys. So the next one would be the Chi Chi bag. Does anybody remember the Chi Chi bag? I loved this bag. I've had it. I've had it twice. It does not wear well. I will say that. The first time I had it was when it came out, actually. I'll put a picture here. There's quite a few different versions. So the first time I had it, it was when it first came out. I know I didn't get it from the store, but I don't, maybe eBay. I don't remember. Anyway, I lent it to my friend. We had a falling out. It's gone. Okay. Okay. So anyway, that one, I loved that bag so much. And I took the loss. It was a long story. Anyway, a few years later, I guess like 2019 maybe, I found one on, was it the Real Real? It might have been the Real Real. I don't know, but it was it was a different version. It was, the first version I had was like the top handle. The second version I had was a like over the shoulder bag. Anyway, it was the first one was like the blue version. The second one was like the pinkish version. Both of them were great. I just love like the plaid. I just love the design. So however, the second one that I got, it was like pilling. Like it was somebody else's. They didn't take very good care of it. It was a great price, but it was pilling, and I wanted something else. And of course, I sold it. I sold it to fund something else. I don't remember. But I am sorry I did that. I love the Chi Chi bag. Every once in a while, it will pop up on any of the sites. It pops up every once in a while. Every once in a while, I see it on Fashion File pop up. It was actually up there not too long ago, and I was kind of watching it. But I find that I feel like it tends to be that there's like an influx all at once on Fashion File of the items that I'm looking for. And I try to control myself and do one at a time. And so, yeah, so a lot of times I'll just have to pick like, okay, what's more important? is it this one or this one? And the Chi Chi didn't win that last round, but at some point it will pop up somewhere. It will be in great condition. It will be the color I want. And I actually don't know at this point which version I'd rather have. Think I don't know, because when this initially came out, I think this was 2012 or 2011, if I'm not mistaken, we liked bigger bags, right? And we liked those like weird shaped bags, kind of like this, like the Steven bag, like the Steven with like the leopard and stuff. That's an honorable mention. I love that bag. However, there's a consignment store near me that has one, and I tried it on, and I had this back in the day. Okay. And I was like, wow, this bag is freaking huge. Like, what do you put in it? It's like a weekender at this point. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So it's like you have to, I don't know. So I don't know which way I'd go with it. It's like some of these bags, although I love them and I want them, they're just like I don't even they're just huge. They're just huge. And I mean at some point that's probably going to be back in style. I just don't have anything to put in it anymore. You know what I mean? So I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, so the Chi Chi bag is on the list. I don't know in which version, but at some point it will happen. It will be back in my collection. Okay, last one on the list, and then I have an honorable mention. Okay, so the last one on the list is actually the jokes bag. I don't know if you guys remember this collection. I want to say it was 2010. Years later, I want to say in about 2017, 18, or 19. I don't remember what year it was at this point. I purchased the orange version of the jokes bag, and it was, I don't know. I went through a phase where I purchased all of these things that I had always been like dreaming of or wanted to put back in my collection or whatever. And then I got them and I was like, oh, I don't really like, I'm not using it the way that I thought I was. And I think that was because the type of job that I had at the time, I worked a ton of hours, and the bags I would bring them to work and I would lock them away. They had to fit in a certain spot. And then on the weekends, if I was going like to the mall or going shopping, like the orange jokes bag specifically is a very big, bulky bag. It is handheld. You can use it on the crook of your arm, but it is handheld. It has two massive, like zippered pockets. It's just humongous. And when it first came out, it was probably something that I would have used a ton. But, in 2019, 2020, when we were going nowhere, it just didn't make any sense anymore. And so I let it go. And I loved it though. I absolutely loved it. It is a stunning bag. And now that my mindset is more about collecting the things that I love versus really like getting, I don't know, like using them for everything and every different, like, I don't know, I no longer, I used to feel like a bag needed to be functional, like in every situation for me to want to keep it and love it. But I just don't feel like that anymore. I'm like, well, certain bags are for certain things, and it is what it is. But I also don't work a million hours a week anymore. I also don't have little kids. So I just feel like now it doesn't matter to me. Like if I love it, I want to add it. And if I'm staring at it, then I'm staring at it. I'm just kind of in that mindset. Like if it is just something that goes and sits in my closet for me to enjoy and look at like a piece of art, I am fine with that too. So I would love to add the orange jokes bag back into my collection. Okay. Last one, guys, and this is an honorable mention, but I've been thinking about it a lot lately. And it is the original K-Town Kasama Speedy. And I love it in probably all the colors. So the reason that I've been thinking about it is a few months ago, I stopped going to Pilates. I want to say like November or whatever, but so it was right before that. So I probably saw it in September or November. The instructor at my Pilates class had the yellow one. Now, I have seen the bag a million times in my life, like on a screen. I remember when it came out, I think it was 2012. I remember when it came out in the store, but I wasn't really interested at that point, and I wasn't really into just speedies because, again, little kids, I wasn't like just carrying a speedy around in my hand because they were little, but they weren't in a stroller. So like I feel like when my kids were in a stroller, I really could use any bag that I wanted because I would just put it on the handle of the stroller. But in like the 2012s, 2013s, like the kids were little, we were going to the park. Always had like I had to hold their hands. You know what I'm saying? And so it was either a crossbody or a shoulder bag or a backpack or a belt bag or whatever, but it wasn't a handheld bag. So I didn't really give it much thought. And so, yeah, I don't really remember if I saw it in the store, but I do know that like I didn't seek it out. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like I've never really seen it in person. Anyway, fast forward to this Pilates class where the instructor came in late and dropped her beautiful, in perfect condition, yellow Kasama, K-Town Speedy right next to my reformer. And I was like, oh my God, the whole class, I'm staring at this freaking bag, the whole class. I absolutely was like in awe of how beautiful it is. In person, that I don't like the newer version. I don't like those like primary color dots all over the thing. But that original Speedy, oh my God, I'm like in complete awe of how absolutely stunning in person it is. So, that being said, honorable mention. And honestly, it probably, I mean, I don't know, it might even knock off one of these. I have to think about it further. But I would love to add, honestly, any color. So it came in red, which I love, but I do have my Cherry Speedy, which is red. So I don't know, maybe not red. I love the white. The white would be stunning. I love the blue. The blue would be stunning. I love the green, which is way harder to find, but probably is my favorite. And I love the yellow. Like I love all of them. So the answer to that is that one day, one of them will pop up in amazing condition at a perfect price at the perfect time, and I will grab it and I will love it. And that's all. But that bag, I'm not into the Neverfull because I don't like the very much. I just find the drop uncomfortable on the Neverfull. But that Speedy, oh, I love it. I love it so much. Okay. So that is, yeah, that'll happen too. All right, guys, I have been going on and on for almost 40 minutes now, so I am going to let you go. Thank you. If you have made it this far, I totally appreciate you. You guys are the best. You know that. I would love to hear, like I said, your thoughts in the comments. Let's have a conversation. What is on your list? What is a dream bag? What is a realistic vintage piece that you are actively looking for? I would love to know. And that's all. So if you have not already subscribed, I would love it if you would hit subscribe. Also, if you have not yet hit the like button, the thumbs up button, but you have made it this far, I would love a thumbs up. It absolutely helps. It helps me immensely. And last but not least, no, I always do this wrong. I always do this wrong. Not last but not least, I am going to leave my Instagram handle right here just in case you are not following me over there, but you would like to. I would love to have you over there. And now, last but not least, I am going to leave another video right over here in case you haven't already seen it, but you would like to keep watching. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. You guys are the best, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.